In Russia, President Vladimir Putin currently faces no opposition in his role. He governs Russia without any challenge. Many Russian citizens who spoke against Putin have been forced into exile, while others have been sent to prison. Some have become victims of assassination attempts. In February 2022, Russia launched an attack on Ukraine, further intensifying the situation. Putin now maintains a highly authoritarian stance in suppressing opponents of this war. They have gradually come under state control or face repression to enforce criminalist policies. For more than 20 years, Putin has held power in Russia. During this time, he has used force to silence those who disagree with him. To strengthen his control, Putin formed alliances with wealthy and powerful individuals called oligarchs. One of them was Mikhail Khodorkovsky, who was the head of a big oil company. Khodorkovsky supported opposition groups against Putin by providing them with money. However, in 2003, Khodorkovsky was arrested for committing financial crimes. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison. After his release, he left Russia. Another influential oligarch, Boris Berezovsky, initially helped Putin rise to power, but later distanced himself from him. Berezovsky was found dead in the UK in 2013 while living in exile. It was reported as a suicide. Journalist and activist Karamazov is known as a critic of Russian President Putin. He has written numerous articles criticizing Putin in Russian and Western media. Currently, one of the most prominent opposition leaders in Russia is Alexei Navalny, who is now in prison. From prison, he continues to strongly criticize Putin's aggressive actions in the Ukraine conflict. In August 2020, Navalny was poisoned, resulting in him falling into a coma. He had to be taken to Germany for medical treatment. The use of poison was directly attributed to Putin. In January 2021, Navalny returned to Russia, only to be arrested on charges of fraud and disrespecting the court. He is currently serving a 9-year prison sentence. Navalny's supporters have faced pressure from Russia's security forces, forcing some of them to flee abroad. Among them are Ivan Zhdanov, the former head of Navalny's anti-corruption foundation, and Lyubov Sovol, a former lawyer for the organization. Another well-known figure associated with Navalny is Leonid Volkov. In 2019, he was involved in a money laundering case and subsequently left Russia. Another prominent critic of Putin is Ilya Yashin, who is currently in Russian custody. He has been a vocal critic of Russia's military actions. In April 2022, Yashin made a live stream on YouTube, calling for an investigation into possible war crime by Russian forces in Ukraine. He has referred to Putin as the most brutal executioner of this war. As a result of this live stream, he was sentenced to 8 years of imprisonment under a new law. Journalist and activist Karamazov is known as a critic of Russian President Putin. He has written numerous articles criticizing Putin in Russian and Western media. Karamazov was the target of mysterious poisoning incidents in 2015 and 2017. These poisoning left him in a coma. In April 2022, he was arrested in Ukraine for his criticism of Russia's military actions. He has been accused of spreading false information about the Russian armed forces and facing multiple charges, including treason. Karamazov was the deputy chairman of a democratic Russian organization called Open Russia. The organization's founder, former Russian oligarch Mikhail Khodorkovsky, is now in exile. The organization was initially declared undesirable, and in 2021, it was completely shut down. One such experienced Russian journalist is Alexander Nevzorov, who has been labeled as a foreign agent by the Russian authorities. He has been accused of spreading false information against the Russian military and has been sentenced to 8 years in prison.